ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Saints lost at home yesterday, so that means the whole division's under 500, but Ron Rivera's team wins tonight. They take over first by percentage points. Likely now a two-team race on the other side, the NFC East. So for Chip Kelly and the Eagles, win tonight, maintain that edge over the Cowboys, knowing 2 Eagles-Cowboys games await as the weather gets colder and the stakes get high. Toss one by the Panthers. They want the ball, so Sanchez will wait. He's going to watch Michael Vick and the Carolina offense start the game. Right at 50 degrees, clear night, no rain in the forecast. It's November, the Eagles are in first place. The Philadelphia fans are fired up and ready to watch Week 10 come to an end here in South Philadelphia. Eagles rookie Cody Parkey set to kick. Bonzi Whitaker. Brenton Burson back to receive, and off we go. It's a short kick. Burson up to get it. Right around the 10. He's brought down shy of the 20-yard line. Brian Brayman, the tackle to start this thing off. So here comes Cam Newton and his numbers on the season. John, they are low. I mentioned the completion percentage as well. It has been an injury-filled first part of the season for Newton.
I think he's pressing, Mike. He's trying to do too much, and when you do that, your fundamentals slip. Got to be patient early in the game. Use your check downs, and running the football with D'Angelo Williams would help.
Williams is the back. Drive starts at the 19. Will turn and give it to D'Angelo Williams. Right side for 4 yards. So you lose your quarterback, and it's big news. Everybody leads their shows with it. Lose your quarterback on defense, it impacts your building. D'Amico Ryans, the Eagles linebacker, tore his Achilles. He's out for the year. So, John, how do they go about replacing him?
We're going to use several players to do it. Casey Matthews will call the signals in their base defense. Look for Emmanuel Acho and Michael Kendricks to pick it up in their sub package, but they lost a coach on the field in D'Amico Ryans.
Twice an All-Pro, done for the year. After the 4-yard gain by Williams, here he goes again to the left. They lost the football. Philly had their hands on it first. Eagles ball.
That is something D'Angelo Williams has not done throughout his career. 72, Thornton knocks this ball out. Clearly out, I think, and Philadelphia has a clear recovery, but D'Angelo Williams hasn't played a lot, Mike. And when you don't play this game, you're suspect to fumbling. Terrible mistake by Carolina early.
And you are right, John. One of the most sure-handed heavy-duty ball carriers in league history. He's handled it 1,626 times as D'Angelo Williams. One fumble every almost 150 touches. Incredibly consistent in protecting the ball. That time recovered by Thornton, and a great opportunity for Mark Sanchez and the Philadelphia offense in great field position at the Panthers 22. Fake to McCoy. Sanchez up top. Incomplete. Looking for Macklin. Twisted in the wrong direction as Mark was pressured. Got to be a lot of butterflies, John. What are you watching for here with Mark in this offense?
I would expect some blitzes early. Big thing with Sanchez is trust the system, trust your teammates. You're right, a lot of pressure when you inherit a 6-2 team in Philadelphia. Be calm early.
A lot of questions. How quick will the offense go? Will it be the same pace? LaShawn McCoy's pulled back by Luke Kuechly, who John talked about. As good a defensive player as there is in the league. For McCoy, the numbers haven't been the same for a stretch there in the season, but he's picked it up with 2 100-yard performances in his last 3 games, getting that total back up to 623 yards.
Numbers are down because Sproles is here, and look who's in there, number 43.
Darren Sproles next to Sanchez for 3rd and 9. Across the middle into traffic, incomplete with Sproles and Zach Ertz almost in the same spot. Here comes a Philadelphia field goal attempt.
Once again, this Philadelphia red zone offense struggles. They came in here close to last in the NFL in touchdown production. That time, a 3-and-out. That's what you have to do as a defense when you get put in a sudden change like that. Get off the field, force a field goal. Here's Parkey.
Traded from Indianapolis in the preseason. We saw him win the game in Indianapolis in week 2 on a Monday night. And he breaks the seal scoring-wise tonight with that 39-yard field goal. Early on in the game, just a couple of plays in, Williams fumbles. The Eagles get it back, but they can't advance it. Cam's team only down 3. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by The North Face. Never stop exploring. NFL.com/now. Watch the biggest library of NFL videos anywhere. Free. And Autotrader.com. Land a great deal on your perfect car at Autotrader.com. Tomorrow, Veterans Day. Happy birthday today, United States Marine Corps. Born in Philadelphia, 1775. Over at Cookie's Tavern in South Philly. They celebrate the 239th birthday of the Marine Corps. 5 plays run from scrimmage. We've had a fumble. The Eagles go 3 and out. Kick the field goal, so it is 3-0. Philadelphia on top, and the second kickoff of the first couple of minutes is a Fozzie Whitaker return. Whitaker got out of the tackle of Brad Smith and keeps going to the 30-yard line before Chris Maragos, the former Seahawk, makes the tackle. So here are the Panthers out there offensively supporting Cam Newton. Bell and Silatolu back on that left side, so solidified on the offensive line from their last game against New Orleans. Norwell, the rookie from Ohio State, now starts. The 2 in the backfield, Williams and Stewart. Greg Olsen, a good receiving tight end. Kelvin Benjamin is splashed as a big play rookie wide receiver. And welcome back to Philadelphia, Jason Avant. Well, Benjamin's been the star guy, 40 catches, averaging 15 per. From the 31, Newton's first pass attempt of the night is intercepted. 3 plays, 2 turnovers. Gary Williams with the pick.
That's bad football by Carolina. It's a slant pattern to your left side. Cam is late off this play-action pass, and he just forces this into a crowd, and Benjamin stopped running. It's a bad route by the rookie receiver. You never stop running on a slant, ever. There'll be a conversation on the sideline. Carolina turned the ball over twice in 4 plays. This NFC South, Mike, as a former alumni, somebody's got to step up and win this division. But what a horrible start for Carolina.
The 2 defenders there. Wasn't a lot open, not a lot of space. And Williams comes up with the interception in the traffic. 8th career interception for the former Raven. This is first down, and Sanchez steps to the middle and throws complete to Macklin. And first down, just shy of the 28-yard line.
And here they come. They don't waste time. First down, play action pass, and Carolina has to get their calls communicated quickly.
Roman Harper stepping in to do that. Sanchez firing to Riley Cooper. Incomplete. Coverage by Melvin White. Fans look for a flag. There is none. White seeing some action. Antoine Cason had struggled, especially in the New Orleans game. And White stepped in, did a decent job in the second half last Thursday night.
Carolina has a brand new secondary, Mike. All 4 starters from last year gone. Good to see Melvin White, who was a part-time starter last year, back in the lineup. But 2 veteran safeties. Deku comes over from Atlanta, and Roman Harper, the ex-Saint, will have their hands full tonight.
With McCoy and Sproles in the game, they spread the field. Sanchez surveys, throws, complete to Selleck at the 7. First and goal, Philadelphia.
When you have a left tackle like Jason Peters, you can run just about any pass you want. Jason Peters, one of the premier left tackles. How about that hand usage?
Wow.
I mean, he knocked Mario Addison off the screen.
Evan Mathis did a good job allowing Sanchez the time for that gain of 21. First and goal, McCoy crawling through the crowded middle to the 3 where Kuechly stops him. Chip Kelly really runs so much of this offense as we have a Panthers slow to get up. Charles Johnson slow to get up, so the hand signal team puts it on pause for a moment as the athletic training staff comes out to take a look at the starting defensive end of the Panthers. Greg Hardy's legal situation, which we've discussed throughout the season, has left Ron Rivera's defense without one of his best defensive ends. This was a terrific combination, Hardy and Johnson. Johnson has kicked it into gear of late. Sacks in 4 of his last 5 games. So let's take a look, see what happens to him. Reaching for that elbow right away as he was engaged with Evan Mathis. Anytime a defensive player against Philadelphia gets hurt, the fans immediately boo because they have seen players fake injuries, essentially. There was an immediate grab of an already taped area by Johnson. And he looked to be in some discomfort as he comes off, and they're holding his arm delicately.
Well, they can ill afford to lose Johnson. This team had 60 sacks last year, and without Hardy and Johnson, that's not happening.
Mario Addison joins the rookie second-round pick Coney Ely at defensive ends for Carolina. Second and goal. The snap got to Sanchez late. There's a flag down. Timing of the play was a bit off. Gene Steratore is our referee here tonight.
Riley Cooper for motion, I believe, Mike.
Offense number 69. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
We'll go with Evan Mathis. John, you mentioned they were right at the fringe of the red zone at the 21 on that last possession. Red zone has been an issue for Philadelphia here this year. They are the second poorest team in the league in red zone touchdown performance. Carolina hasn't been very good on either side in the red zone, so could be a good night for field goal kickers unless the numbers change.
You can make all the yards you want, Mike, but these are the yards you need. In the red zone, they've got to do a much better job, clearly.
Sproles is the back. He'll go left. Cooper set the edge, and Sproles scores.
Brent Selleck at the point of attack has done a lot for this Eagle running game, but that was ball handling that fooled the Carolina Panther defense. Sproles starts to his right, cuts it back to his left, and Brent Selleck at the point of attack does an excellent job against Roman Harper at the point of attack. I love players that sacrifice their personal statistics for the team, and Selleck leads the Eagles in that category.
Only 14 catches this year, but a huge impact on this team. Parkey adds the extra point. 2 Carolina turnovers turn into 10 Philadelphia points. Darren Sproles, this terrific offseason pickup, has his 4th touchdown of the year. Look at that overhead shot. You peek up in the corners. Folks are standing up at the top of the stadium, shoehorned in to Lincoln Financial Field. They watch Carolina turn it over on their first 2 possessions for the first time in 11 years. This is franchise celebrating its 20th season here. Williams fumble, Newton interception, double-digit deficit. Not even 5 minutes in, not even 4 minutes in. Fozzie Whitaker will take a knee. He'll be taken over at the 20 for Cam Newton, who's been across from a Chip Kelly coach team before. You remember in Arizona, the 2011 BCS National Championship game. Newton leading Auburn, their great season when playing. Michael Dyer made, still playing in college football. Everybody stopped, but his knee wasn't down. Kept that game-winning drive alive for the West Byram field goal as time expired. Crystal ball, the national championship. They rolled Toomer's Corner down in the Plains. And a lot of different turns in the road between that night in Arizona and here. But here they are again, sharing a field. From the 20, will turn and hand it to James Stewart. Runs right for about 3 yards against this Philadelphia defense. Always on the field for a lot of plays. Fletcher Cox is one of their top defenders, 23-year-old former first-round pick out of Mississippi State. We told you the injury to D'Amico Ryan's Casey Matthews steps in. Barwin and Cole, the pass rush off the edge. You've already heard from Cary Williams with his interception. Malcolm Jenkins came over from New Orleans. Much like Sproles on the offensive side, Jenkins on the defensive side. Tremendous impact on and off the field in Philly. Throw is complete by Newton. It'll be Ed Dixon who gets hit hard right near the first down line. So the Jonathan Stewart run, the catch by Dixon. And the Panthers will move the chains for the first time tonight.
It's important that Carolina finds their identity on offense. And I think it's Stewart and Williams running the football, controlling the clock. That's what they did a great job of last year offensively. They took care of the ball, they controlled the clock, and they're going to have to do that tonight to keep Chip Kelly and his Eagle offense off the field.
The 1-2 combo with Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, as healthy as they have been all year. And there is Jonathan taking it to the 35-yard line for a gain of 4. 7th year back out of Oregon. He had 46 yards against New Orleans. His success through his first 4 seasons, about 3,500 yards. Then the ankle and foot injuries set in, and he hasn't been the same consistent back that he was early on.
Carolina using multiple tight ends and pounding the ball straight ahead against this Eagle front. See if that continues.
Gain of 4. Stewart almost stumbled as he was trying to hit the hole to the right. And Connor Barwin brings him down along with Benny Logan, the second-year man from LSU. Logan.
This Carolina offensive line, got to keep an eye on Byron Bell at left tackle. He's playing for a contract. Somebody has to pick up for Jordan Gross, the longtime left tackle. Will it be Bell? Can Silatolu, 66, be the left guard? A lot to prove here in Philadelphia.
3rd and 3. Eagles bring pressure. It's picked up. Newton's pass is complete to Jason Avant, and Philadelphia fans have long seen Avant, as he waves a welcome back, come to 3rd down and keep the drive alive with a catch.
That's how you run a slant pattern, Mike. You cross the face of the corner and you do not quit. Good throw by Cam Newton under duress. They ask a lot of Cam Newton, Mike, throwing the football out of the shotgun. Incredible play action passes, and I think it inhibits him in his accuracy at times.
First and 10, they bring pressure. Newton's got time, taking the shot downfield, and it's brought in by Olsen, the tight end. Working on Casey Matthews all the way to the 15-yard line. Pickup of almost 40.
Well, that's a matchup they were looking for all along. Olsen, right side of your screen, number 88. A simple seam pattern right down the middle. Cam looked off the free safety. They do not want Casey Matthews covering Greg Olsen, I promise you that.
Longest reception of the season for the veteran Olsen, officially 38 yards. The Panthers, no bargain when they're in the red zone either. They've struggled almost as much as the Eagles. With D'Angelo Williams pushing the pile for 5 yards, just shy of the 10.
You know, Cam Newton does have some awkward pocket mechanics. He's very straight up and down in the pocket, 6'5". I think his mechanics have not been the same with all the time that he's missed, Mike. Watch that right foot. It'll be a yard behind the left when he's in the shotgun. And his numbers are almost aiming toward the opposite sideline.
Almost like a puncher is trying to angle it to the right side. It's an odd look. From the 12, Newton flushed. Just gets rid of it. As Barwin, playing that defensive end / linebacker spot, took Brandon Williams in coverage.
It's a 3rd down situation for Philadelphia. Here comes Nolan Carroll, their dime corner. The Philadelphia Eagles are playing a lot of 6 defensive back combinations, and Nolan Carroll will play linebacker in this dime package. Bill Davis, the defensive coordinator, using a lot of different personnel. Heads up for the blitz.
Four in the pattern. Newton slant. It is caught for the first down by Jericho Cotchery. So They completely redo the receiving core. The veterans of Vaughns and Cotchery have kept this drive alive.
They put Barwin and Trent Cole off the ball as linebackers. They had Nolan Carroll, a defensive end, playing a corner playing defensive end. They tried to fool the Panther offensive line. Didn't do it that time. Nice catch by Cotchery.
First and goal. And running Stewart up the middle. Stop just shy of the goal line. Looked like that surge was going to take him across the plane, but he stopped at the 1. It'll be second and goal.
It was an impressive drive by Carolina. And you see the respect that this Eagle defense has for number 13, Kelvin Benjamin. That time, they doubled him clearly. Now Benjamin out of the game. Number 64, Brian Folkerts, has checked in as an extra lineman. I'd be shocked if this isn't a quarterback sneak or an inside run with Stewart from inside the 1.
Turning, Stewart able to break the plane and in for the touchdown.
Nothing fancy about that. Right off the right side of your screen, number 68, Andrew Norwell, who switched over from left guard to right guard, does a nice job at the point of attack. And Jonathan Stewart, against his old coach, Chip Kelly, puts the Panthers on the board.
You look there as the ball broke the plane. The score is confirmed via replay, and that's a heck of a response after 2 turnovers in the early going for Carolina. Graham Gano adds the extra point. The final line on an 11-play, 80-yard, 5-minute drive. A couple good third down passing pickups. It's Carolina on the board. Of course, you all saw after 12 touchdowns in 2 games, Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers losing to the Jets, right? Go figure this league. We'll see if Pittsburgh can pick up the pieces in Music City next Monday night against the Titans. Steelers-Titans, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football. Kenny Chesney, will he be around?
I think we're going to get Kenny Chesney to come by. I might surprise you, Mike. I got some connections in Nashville, you know.
Very, very popular wherever we go. Graham Gano with the kick. And it will, like most of his kicks this year, be a touchback, no return by Chris Polk. Third drive for Mark Sanchez, first starting from his own territory when we come back. Sanchez, the Southern California kid, won the Rose Bowl, number 3 in the country USC, number 5 overall pick by the Jets. AFC title game his first 2 years, but then the discontent, the new offensive coordinator, Tim Tebow, was a circus. Back page fodder, backside fumbles. The Jets drafted Geno Smith. Sanchez was hurt in 2013. 5 years in New York, done. Down I-95, signed with the Eagles. The day he signed was the day Deshaun Jackson was waived by the Eagles. So not a lot of attention, but the backup is now number 1. And he gives to LaShawn McCoy to start this drive. That's a gain of just about 5 yards.
I think Sanchez can reinvent himself here, Mike. I'll say this. He is mentally tough. What he's been through. You got to give him credit for hanging in there.
2nd and 4. His toss towards Matthews is broken up by the safety, who's done a very nice job in this team the last 2 weeks, Colin Jones.
Come out of nowhere. Colin Jones was a special teams player. Remember, Carolina lost Captain Munnerlin, an outstanding nickel corner, and they're looking for somebody to pick up the slack, and it's been Colin Jones. Nice play. Playing the ball in flight.
We'll play a couple of different players depending on the situation in nickel, and the former TCU Horned Frog doing it at the safety spot. 3rd and 4, Jason Kelsey pointing him out from the center spot. Pass for Sproles is broken up. Thomas Davis. Great coverage. 3 and out Philadelphia.
Oh, I love this. Choice route. We've seen it all year long from Darren Sproles. One-on-one against Thomas Davis. He's going to break flat across his face. Sproles dropped it.
Sproles, yep. I thought it was Davis getting a hand on it. He didn't.
That's a big gain if Darren Sproles catches that one.
Donnie Jones to kick it away for the Eagles. Good hang time, good distance. The kick is 59. Here comes Bretton Burson. Here comes a flag. With a few more to follow. Marigot says he has the ball. For the Eagles, says he took it away. Nobody listening to the special teams ace for Philly.
It's like a holding, Mike, against Carolina.
During the return, holding, return team number 31. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Carolina. Timeout.
Flag on James Dockery, so Cam Newton will have a long field. Just led an 80-yard touchdown drive a moment ago. Cam Newton had a terrific performance a couple of Novembers ago against Philadelphia on a Monday night, trying to add 2 numbers that he needs to improve on the season. And that last drive, after the Panthers turned it over twice in their first 3 plays, much more like the game plan they laid out. Drive starts with 12. Williams tried to get to the outside. Brandon Graham chased him down and brought him down.
Brandon Graham, the former first-round pick out of Michigan, is playing better in this 3-4 defense. Watch him set the edge right here. He's going to be working against number 77, Byron Bell. He gets off a block easily and takes down Williams for a loss. Not good enough by Bell at left tackle, who is making the transition. He was the right tackle last year. He's got a tough job tonight.
Jordan Gross retired, as you mentioned. Graham, disappointment in those first few years. He's back to playing good football. That time, Silatolu.
Start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, the struggles of the offensive line, the different combinations up front, the new personnel on the outside, the injuries, all reasons that Cam Newton has not played better football. Missed the opener against Tampa, and then it's been a declining process here against good defenses, but hitting a bottom here against New Orleans last Thursday night when he was 10 of 28, 39.4 passer rating. Eagles rush just 3, and Newton's pass is incomplete. Intended for the rookie, Benjamin.
That's a nice job again by Brandon Graham, the outside linebacker. Watch him buzz right underneath this hitch route. They're essentially doubling Kelvin Benjamin, and Cam's got to get off of that and check the ball down. 3rd down and long. I'd be surprised if this isn't a screen or some kind of run.
Shovel pass. Olsen is shy of the 10. And Philadelphia does the job on defense. With the penalty helped it to 3rd and long. They get out of there. There goes Darren Sproles, who earlier had an 8-yard touchdown run. You see his success this year. The top all-purpose men in the league since he's entered.
And Carolina has struggled covering kicks. And Sproles averaging over 15 yards of return. Got to be real careful with this ball.
Brad Nortman gets it away. Good kick. 55 yards. Sproles to the 35. Hits the accelerator. Sproles at the 40. Fakes out Nortman. Darren Sproles gone. Touchdown. Eagles.
Why you would punt the ball to Darren Sproles in the middle of the field, I have no idea. He has burned so many people for so many years. I'm shocked they kicked to him, Mike. This is a perfect spiral in the middle of the field, and Philadelphia's special teams continue to ring people's bell. Great work by Sproles, but you can't block this return much better. Should not kick him the football ever.
Second of the year, 5th of his career. Extra point, Cody Parkey. As somebody said to me earlier this week, how did he get out of the building in New Orleans? Such an impact player.
How did he get out of San Diego?
Good point. Touchdown, Sproles. 5'6", 31 years old, too short, not enough, can't be an every down back. A lot of people said a lot of different things about Darren Sproles. We mentioned career punt return 5, 7th return touchdown to go with his 2 kickoff takebacks earlier in his career. John said it, the way the Eagles have scored in addition to their good offense, 8 touchdowns either scored by their defense or their special teams. 5 of them really special teams, 2 punt returns for 1 kickoff return, and 2 on recoveries or returns of blocked punts. Ozzie Whitaker, no return.
Take a look what Sproles did earlier in the game, Mike. Watch him against Luke Kuechly. He starts one way, cuts it back. They fool Luke Kuechly, and off goes Sproles for a walk-in touchdown. And then you just saw the return. You kick him the ball in the middle of the field, you're asking for it. Darren Sproles has done it coast to coast in the NFL for a long time. He'll retire as one of the top all-purpose yardage makers ever.
First man in the league with 2 punt returns for touchdowns this season. Philadelphia now leads by 10. Fireworks set off. A little smoke to run through for Stewart. Jonathan Stewart just shy of the first down, right near the 30-yard line.
I have a hard time breathing up here when I see Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams in the same building. Boy,
they've seen him before up close?
Mike, these 2 men shredded me when I was coaching, and really they have a lot to do with me being out of coaching. Good to see Stewart returning from an injury. They have so much money invested in these 2 backs. They must get production from them to get back in this NFC South race.
Williams in his 9th year, Stewart in his 7th. So veteran backs with a lot of mileage on them who've had a lot of big moments, especially on Mondays, John.
Yeah, I learned this dance. My son and I do this dance because they did it against me on Monday Night Football. Both these men ran for over 100 yards, averaged almost 8 yards a carry. One of the worst nights of my life, Mike. I think I contributed to these backs' financial status. They got big contracts after dealing with me.
And of course, both teams came into that game 9-3. Remember, that was the week Lane Kiffin got the head coaching job at Tennessee. Monty Kiffin, your defensive coordinator, then started recruiting for Lane, and the defense struggled in those last 4 games. Newton to the sideline. Big collision there as he coasted out of bounds, gaining just a yard. Looks like everybody's okay after the contact.
You know, you see Cam, though, running with the ball. He just looks like there are some lingering effects with this ankle. And he'll tell you it's not 100%, but he's not as reckless. He's not as explosive for obvious reasons. 2nd and 8.
Even there, getting up off his knee out of the huddle, John, when he walked into our meeting last night, there's just not that fire, that spark, that light up the room energy, or those highlight plays from Newton this year. Open field tackle, Jonathan Stewart by Malcolm Jenkins. 3rd and long.
Excuse me, when you overload a protection with a blitz, somebody has to cover the hot receiver. And Malcolm Jenkins has finally given Philadelphia a safety that they can ask multiple things from. He's the best safety they've had since Brian Dawkins. Versatile, free safety, strong safety. He can play nickel. He does it all for this Eagle defense.
Hand signal to change the play. 3rd and 7. 5-men rush. Newton trying to get away from Connor Barwin. Not gonna do it.
Connor Barwin with his 8th sack. He's standing up over the guard, almost like he's spying Cam Newton. Cam Newton takes off, and You can tell Barwin is an ex-UC Bearcat basketball player. 8 sacks, 6 batted down passes. What a year for the ex-Houston Texans.
What a quarter for Sproles. Nortman kicks again. Tries to kick it away. This time Sproles has to go for the fair catch. He tells his teammates to get away, get away. And it will be inside the 10-yard line when Dockery touches it, and the Panthers take over. It's such a transient league. You and I talk about this all the time, where new faces show up and then moves like Sproles and Jenkins with great additions on both sides of the ball and special teams for Philadelphia this year.
Yeah, talking to the Eagle players and coaches, not only are they 2 of the best players, they're 2 of the best teammates, 2 of the best people. I'm surprised the Saints let these guys go. These kids have really helped Philadelphia.
You see veteran teams that are right on the verge of winning, and for cap reasons or trying to get young on the run around a Breeze or a Manning or a Brady, those veteran quarterbacks, you've got to make some tough financial choices. And somebody's waiting with cap space. And the Eagles have a lot of it because they don't have a ton of money in a quarterback. That's the second good play by Colin Jones in this opening quarter as he takes McCoy down to end the first. After 1 in Philadelphia, it's the Eagles by 10 on Monday Night Football.
ESPN celebrating 45 years of Monday Night Football.
Moon over the link as we get set for the second quarter here in South Philadelphia. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. Philadelphia 6-2 leading the East, leading Carolina by 10 as we start the second. After the loss of 4, McCoy is held to no gain, maybe loss of a yard as the former Falcon Thomas Deku made the tackle. No gain.
That's a zone read with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. I never thought I'd see Sanchez running a zone read. Either did he.
Mark performed very well in the preseason. Eagles felt quite confident about their backup spot and now have to turn to him for the next month or so. This is 3rd down from his own end zone, and open is the rookie Jordan Matthews. Got it for the first down at the 28-yard line.
Talked about Colin Jones and the problem that they have had in the slot. These Carolina Panthers on defense. That time there's a simple pick play. Somebody blew the coverage. Perhaps 24 Norman.
The 28, Sanchez with a pump. Looking middle, and again, it is Matthews, the 45. So they go from their own 5 in 2 plays in 20 seconds and gain 40 yards.
If you give Mark Sanchez protection like this, he's going to complete a lot of passes, and there's going to be a lot of sick Jet fans.
45, McCoy running to the left, trying to get the edge as his center, Kelsey. Kuechly bumps him out of bounds, gain of 2.
This Luke Kuechly. NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year, Rookie of the year before that. The only player I can remember doing that is Lawrence Taylor. What a start to his career, Mike. He had 9 turnovers himself his first 2 years. That led all the linebackers, and he has 0 this year. He needs to get one for this Panther defense.
It's Chris Polk, the new back, listening to all the communication, picking up the blitz as Sanchez throws complete in the middle for Brent Selleck to the 33-yard line. Great blitz pickup.
Great blitz pickup by Polk. He's going to come across the formation, pick it up, and watch the throw by Sanchez. This is a back shoulder ball to Selleck. He throws the ball away from the coverage, and Selleck got away with a push.
Roman Harper was saying that there. It's an area of emphasis. That straight push of an arm is supposed to be an indicator. But he got away with it. Gains at 23, 17, and 20 on this drive. And now a whistle. And that play was getting started. There's been a lot of pushing and shoving on the back end of that last play.
Game play clock to 25 seconds. The officials were not in position to officiate. First down, Philadelphia.
There's one thing when Philadelphia wants to go at its warp speed. The officials need time, whether it's getting back behind the quarterback or deep, to get to their spot so they can officiate the play properly. And if not, they blow it dead and restart it. And that's what happened on that play.
Bump Chip Kelly, I'm going to continue to throw. No Charles Johnson, no Greg Hardy. Throw it.
Sanchez trying to go to Macklin on that bunch. And it is incomplete.
Chip Kelly will call the plays himself. He has a live signal man that'll stand close by with several dummy signalers. Now, if you're trying to decode who the live signaler is, good luck. That's the job I want, Mike.
Dummy signaler?
Dummy signaler for the Eagles.
And movement on Philadelphia.
Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Jason Kelce, the center, his second game back from sports hernia surgery.
Look at this, Mike. Is he live? Or is this an act? You don't know. But you watch these young coaches choreograph their show on the practice field. That's a rehearsal also.
It was really good, wasn't it? Second and 15, McCoy. Sean goes to the 33-yard line.
Boy, if they had me down there doing this dummy signaling, there's no telling what I'd come up with. But you don't know if TJ Pagnetti's signaling it. You don't know if it's one of his young associates. But everybody's trying to get a grip on what does that mean on Chip Kelly's sideline sheet, and what do these signals mean and these signs.
And Chip, of course, has the communication to the quarterback's head. Caught by Matthews at the 20. Inside the 15 to the 13. 3 big catches for the rookie out of Vanderbilt on this drive.
Here they come. There's just no pressure whatsoever, and Sanchez is seeing the field beautifully.
Right back on it. Sanchez, boot, throw, end zone. Matthews, his drive, his touchdown. What a start for the Eagles.
This is like Escape from New York, Mike. Mark Sanchez putting on a show in this new system with these new teammates. Ball handling superb on that play. They fake the ball to McCoy. He comes out to his left, stops, pops, and throws it straight. And you see number 81, the rookie Jordan Matthews. They tell me he's related to Jerry Rice. Imagine that.
4 catches, 73 yards for Matthews. Mom's first cousin with Rice. Were you sitting on that Escape from New York line all day?
No, it just dawned on me.
That's baloney, but it was really good.
I like Snake Plissken.
It's a 91-yard touchdown drive because it started at the 9, but remember McCoy lost yards on the first down carry, so it's 93 passing yards for Sanchez that drive.
Well, they blow a coverage. He sees it, makes a great throw. Then he wants to throw a double move, but he resets and finds Matthews in the middle of the field. Look at the pass protection. Back shoulder throw to Selleck. Then he does a nice job throwing an accurate shallow cross to Matthews. They move the pocket. Pass protection, skill support everywhere, and the up-tempo system. Got to credit Philadelphia for signing Mark Sanchez, who was a top 5 pick. Took the Jets to the Final Four twice. Had some tough years, no question about it, but every year in pro football, there are a cast of players that reinvent themselves, and clearly Sanchez is doing that in Philadelphia.
(24-7). Game's not even a third of the way through. No return again for Fozzie Whitaker. Saturday night on your ABC station in prime time. Florida State, a team that it seems has the easiest road to the playoff, taking on Miami, one of the last hurdles they'll have for Jameis Winston and the Noles. 9-0, undefeated so far. Of course, you'll have the new college football rankings coming out with the poll from the playoff committee tomorrow on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern time for that. See if Newton and the Panthers can get their pass game going like that scoring drive they had. Newton sidearm sling over Benjamin's head and incomplete. Flag is down back by the quarterback.
Oh, a face mask, I think, Mike.
Personal foul. Face mask offense, number 28. Half the distance to the goal. Replay first down.
On Jonathan Stewart, Gene Steratore was looking over to Chip Kelly to get his attention.
You know, this Panther offense is not really built to come from behind, Mike. Keep an eye on Stewart, left side of the screen.
Right there at the end of the play. Into the play when Cole's head turns quickly as he was engaged with Ed Dixon blocking. So it's now 1st and 20. Late pressure from Kendricks is picked up. There's time and a lot of traffic as he continues to try to feed it to Benjamin, and the Eagles bringing a lot of dark green shirts around the rookie.
Nice job by Bradley Fletcher, who's had a good year at left corner for Philadelphia. It's a square in by Benjamin. And Fletcher, who's going to be a free agent at the end of this season, is playing for a contract and playing quite well. Philadelphia on defense can rush 3 and frustrate you with a lot of people in coverage. And defensive coordinator Bill Davis has proven all year he has an assortment of blitzes. Look for one here.
Second and 20, and Newton slings it. It is held onto by Benjamin, who's almost losing it there. They'll give him forward progress just shy of the 19. It'll still be 3rd and long.
One of the things that defenses are trying to do to Cam Newton is frustrate him. Rush 3, play 8 in coverage. Force Cam Newton to get off his primary and find his 2nd and 3rd receivers. It's an area he struggled to do. They're challenging his patience. And on 3rd and 11, Philadelphia might rush 3 again.
Time they change it. They bring everybody. Can't get away from Trent Cole. Brought down back inside the 5.
You gotta love it. Bill Davis doing an outstanding job mixing the looks. And Trent Cole, the number 2 sack man in Philadelphia Eagle history, just gets another one. Confusion on the Carolina offensive line once again as Byron Bell at left tackle, and you've seen Barwin and Trent Cole wrap up Cam Newton in the open air. Cam's not 100%, Mike.
That sack brings Trent Cole into the top 50 all time since they've been tracking. 83.5 sacks. Sproles comes up to make the fair catch. It bounces out of bounds right at midfield. Barwin earlier, Cole there. Secondary doing the job with Jenkins and company. Eagles defense with a good start tonight. ESPN's Monday Night Football brought to you by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a 2015 GMC vehicle at gmc.com/NFL. ESPNFanshop.com, powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. And Powerbeats 2. Training is now wireless. Great look at Center City, Philadelphia. And back here inside the Link hard coverage with Spider Cam. Brought to you by DirecTV. Some of the names in Eagles history, including Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, Brian Dawkins, all here tonight as well. Mike Golick here as well. Saw a whole bunch of former Eagles around. Sanchez struggled to get that snap, and it'll be a loss of 6 as he falls on it.
You know, Jason Kelce missed some time too, Mike. He had some bad snaps last week against Houston. That's an area they've got to clean up. Gun snap accuracy, a big part of this offense.
Big to McCoy. Sanchez to throw. Just kind of get it back by throwing out to Macklin. Be 3 yards shy of the first down. Just inside the Carolina 42.
Sanchez showing great poise in the pocket. Jeremy Macklin. It's a simple square in. He sets down against the zone, and Mark Sanchez with plenty of time to find him.
The 3rd down. It is incomplete. Trying to get it to Brent Selleck. And Kuechly coming across a much-needed stop on 3rd down. Let's see what they do on 4th down here.
Chip Kelly's going for it. Nice play once again by Kuechly. And even in these situations, the Eagles refuse to huddle. Critical 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situations. You'd think you'd get in a huddle and call your best play, but it's all orchestrated with a no huddle.
Number 41, fake to McCoy. Sanchez turns, tosses, incomplete for Macklin. Josh Norman did a good job in coverage. And a much needed stop, 4 and out, if you will, by the Carolina defense. This will be the 7th possession for Cam Newton and the Carolina offense. They've punted their last 3. The first 2 were turnovers that led to 10 Eagle points. Translation, hasn't been a good offensive night for Carolina. In a 17-point hole, if they win, they're still under 500 but lead the NFC South. Good, hard second effort run by Stewart. It's a gain of 11, a first down. That last series ended with the Trent Cole sack, pulling Cam Newton down almost apart as he's brought down. And then when Newton went back to the Carolina bench area, our guys caught him grimacing, stretching, feeling the pain. And John, that's the image of Cam Newton 2014.
Hard to see, yes, sir. And let's see if Carolina can take advantage of this field position. Surprise, Philadelphia went for it.
D'Angelo Williams bouncing it to the outside. And he's taken out of bounds at the 45. Will gain 4 yards. Bradley Fletcher took him all the way to the sideline. Now come back to that because Chip Kelly had that 4th down there right around the Panthers' 42-yard line. A little too long for a field goal attempt for Parkey. You would have punted there in that situation?
I would have punted with my defense playing as they are. I don't do anything like Chip Kelly, and that's why he's down there and I'm up here. But Carolina's got a golden opportunity to get back in this football game.
2nd and 6. Pressure from Kendricks, and he twists down Newton. D'Angelo Williams could not pick up Michael Kendricks for the blitzing sack.
Not good at all. And Cam has lost his mobility, but you're going to see Kendricks blitz around the corner against D'Angelo Williams, and Williams has to do a much better job than that. A lot of these Eagle sacks have been uncontested. And on 3rd down is 16. Good luck.
Newton has been sacked now 25 times, just under 9.5 games. And he missed the first one, so 8.5 really. Cam surveys, got away from Graham, and got hit as he flings it to the sideline. It's hauled in. What a play to keep it alive for Greg Olsen. And a big conversion to the 35.
What a play. What a play is right. To his left, he stiff arms the defensive end, and as he's going down, he throws a back shoulder fade to Greg Olsen. An unbelievable play by Newton.
6'5" quarterback to a 6'5" tight end.
Easy. Hey, Kansas.
35 here is D'Angelo Williams to the right. Got a good lead block to get out there, 7 yards. Nate Chandler, the right tackle, part of this changed team as guys have moved around, had to replace some familiar names around here.
Well, there's a lot of the names. I mean, if I'm a Carolina Panther fan, I'm buying season tickets for a 12-4 NFC South championship, and my whole secondary's gone. Steve Smith, Jordan Gross. Hard to swallow. Greg Hardy's another story, but this is not the same Carolina Panther team that won 12 games last year.
Williams, that time right into the back of the center, Ryan Khalil. That'll limit the gain to only a yard as Kendrick stops him. With 3rd down coming up.
These have been the situations that Cam Newton has been asked to run the ball himself. They've run direct shotgun power plays. They've run some option plays in this down and distance. Let's see if they put it in Newton's hands. He's clearly struggling physically right now.
Third and 2, Williams runs, big hit to stop him from Benny Logan. second time we've called Logan. What will Riverboat Ron do? Rivera on fourth down.
Well, Benny Logan's the nose tackle. And in this unbalanced formation, he stunts the opposite way and rejects that inside run. And as you said, Riverboat Ron is going for it. He was 10 for 13 last year, going for it on fourth down. And he told us coming in, I might have to make a couple calls to ignite this football team. Here's one of them.
Solid kicker, eschewing the opportunity for a 44-yard field goal mid-second quarter to make it a 14-point game. Newton will throw for it and take a deep shot for it. So on fourth and a yard, instead of the 44-yard field goal, they take a deep shot down the sideline, and they get nothing. Fourth down stops. Exchange the possession back to Philadelphia, leading 24-7, taking over at their own 27-yard line. Eagles have a punt return for touchdown. They also have 3 possessions that have started in Carolina territory. Back in their own half of the field, Sanchez met by Davis and a loss of 5 yards.
This is one thing I don't understand. A zone read with Mark Sanchez. They've already lost one quarterback. They don't block Thomas Davis, and they run a zone read right at him, and Sanchez kept it. You're going to run out of quarterbacks pretty soon.
Quickly out, Josh Huff on the edge, brought down by that same man, Davis, right around the 30.
Critical stop here for Carolina. They must get the ball back to Newton one more time before the half. Keep an eye on Macklin at the top of the screen. He's been dangerous the last 2 weeks, particularly.
3rd and 8, a lot of receivers to the right. Cutting underneath the traffic is Jordan Matthews, the rookie, having a big night. Pulled down at the last second by Colin Jones to deny the touchdown.
Jordan Matthews on a little stack release. And he comes open clean off your right side. 2 receivers ran together. They picked off the Carolina Panthers in coverage.
Matthews over 100 yards now. Sanchez pumping and fires. It's intercepted. Beat down. Nope, out of bounds, out of bounds. Norman trying to tightrope the sideline like a receiver.
I think it was a double move, and that's the first bad decision we have seen from Sanchez. Foot is on the line. 24-7 lead. You have a chance to put Carolina away. Got to execute.
McCoy and Sproles in the game. It went the other way towards Riley Cooper, who wasn't expecting it.
Well, it's a quick screen, Mike, and Philadelphia's completed over 40 quick screens this year. That time, Sanchez, Riley Cooper clearly not on the same page, and they've dodged the bullet in these last 2 plays. Charles Johnson, somebody on his Carolina defense has to register a sack. They had 60 last year. They haven't come close tonight. Johnson at the top of the screen is their money rushing.
Elbow injury earlier, back in the game. Closing in on Sanchez. McCoy spun to run before he caught the ball. 4th down. This time on 4th down at the Panthers 38. The punting unit will come on. Donnie Jones is trying to pin this one inside the 10. Couldn't do it.
This last 4th down by Carolina. They get Kotchery at the bottom of the screen, one-on-one with Connor Barwin. And I think Kotchery stopped running. But this is a matchup that you die for as an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach. You have to credit Barwin with knowing where the sideline is and pinning Kotchery into the boundary. I don't understand Wycochery didn't have more urgency in that situation. Perhaps he wasn't the primary, but that was the matchup Carolina was looking for.
We went back and looked at that in the break. All the other receivers were covered. Olsen was upset. He felt like he had a little bit of a space in the end zone, the tight end. Stewart for the check down. But a good job by Barwin. Stopped that drive. No points allowed by the Panthers defense. They take over at the 20, and here's D'Angelo Williams on the street. Pass Cole to the sideline with a gain of a half dozen. With 2:41 and all the 3 timeouts remaining for the Panthers.
This is the most difficult situation Carolina is faced with. Obvious passing situations in a 2-minute drill. You're going to see a number of screens because this offensive line has struggled to pass protect. Barwin at the top of the screen. Fletcher Cox at the bottom. Should deliver here.
Newton threw it right to Fletcher. Bradley, Fletcher, pick 6. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Bad throw. Bad communication. Bad results. A simple hitch route on the outside from the shotgun. Ball can't be thrown to the inside, and Avant's played a long time. It's hard to understand. That's the second interception on both of them. Wide receiver, quarterback not on the same page.
Bradley Fletcher's first NFL touchdown. Cody Parkey's extra point, 31-7. The South is available for someone. For the second time tonight, and the 9th time in this 9 games played by Philadelphia. The defense and the special teams have taken care of scoring the points. First interception of the year for Bradley Fletcher. Burson will not bring it back.
Mike, this is just a simple hitch route at the bottom of the screen, and Cam misses the throw. Bump and run coverage is not the look you want to throw this pattern. But the throw can't be to the inside. Avant, not sure what's happening. Philadelphia is going to blow Carolina out of here if this continues.
The former Ram, a couple of years here now, second year with Philadelphia. He gets the score, and Newton back to it with Olsen. We'll gain 9 as we get to the 2-minute warning. 17 in the first quarter, 14 here in the second for the Eagles. Toyota halftime with Chris Berman's coming up. Morton Adams standing by. They've got their insider notes. And Carson Palmer injury topping the news of this day. Going to update the Pro Bowl balloting, reveal the top 5 overall fan vote getters. And we'll have a Sports Center today. Update everything that's happened in sports as it was seen on Sports Center during the day. Of course, we will be in Glendale for the Pro Bowl in late January, which will be a week before the Super Bowl, the site of the ultimate game of the season. Newton flushed and taking off and throttles it down right around the 33-yard line. 34. It'll be a first down picked up by Cam.
Eagles doing a nice job, Mike. I'll say it again, of mixing up their looks. Maximum zone looks with the 3-man rush. And some blitzes that Carolina has struggled to pick up.
You mentioned it earlier. You see people line up in different spots for some of their defensive looks. Here, that traditional look with Cole and Barwin coming off the ends of the 4-man rush. Newton's pass nearly intercepted again. Brandon Boykin, the nickel, is going down the slot on the coverage.
You can see what they're doing. They're presenting a 4-man rush, but Barwin is spying on Cam Newton. If Cam Newton takes off and runs, Barwin's going to go with him. There's only a 3-man rush. There's multiple Eagles in coverage. And Cam Newton has proven tonight he's struggling in the pocket. Fundamentals, decision-making, results have been poor throwing the ball from the pocket.
Bill Davis, defensive coordinator, used to be a position coach on the Carolina defense, coaching outside linebackers. Good job thus far. Sideline toss that is juggled, and no catch. Person juggled, trying to work the sideline.
Somebody's got to pick Cam Newton up. Ball can't be thrown any better. When Cam's on, a receiver is off. When Cam's off, Cam is off. But somebody in this receiving corps needs to step up and make a play.
On 3rd and 10, Newton throws again to Burson, this time able to work the sideline, bring it down for the first down.
The talent is there, though. That's back-to-back impressive throws by Newton. Burson on a corner route, beats Boykin, gets 2 feet in. Carolina must get something out of this drive. Plenty of time left. Barwin, left side of your screen, is going to spy on Cam Newton.
Final 100 seconds of the half. Newton getting it to Stewart. And Jonathan Stewart pushed towards the sideline, but inbounds. That knee comes down as Michael Kendricks pushed him. So the clock winds with 1:25 to go. And now Ron Rivera from that Carolina side will take a timeout. Pretty sure it was Rivera. The official pointed in the opposite direction. But it is Carolina time. Just want to make sure we got the right team there. This Eagles defense has done a very good job here, John, of keeping Carolina in check. But that Panther offense, you're just looking for a spark somewhere, some consistency on any drive. And other than that 80-yarder, haven't seen it.
Nobody's made a play. Their offensive line has struggled. They haven't picked up blitzes. We've seen D'Angelo Williams fumble. We've seen drop passes. And Cam hasn't been good tonight either. But you got to credit Philadelphia, who's playing their first game without D'Amico Ryans, their quarterback on defense. Some of these young linebackers have stepped up. Emmanuel Acho being one of them. Michael Kendricks, number 95, thrust into a leadership role. Done a nice job tonight.
That is the Panthers timeout. 2nd and 3. Time to run it. Williams. Beautiful play. 3rd one by Benny Logan. Working hard to be the Gruden grinder tonight. Benny Logan, a couple of plays on the line.
3rd down and 2. Got to show some urgency. Clock continues to tick. Watch the top of the screen. Quick pattern.
Benjamin crossing. Newton goes the other way. Williams has the first down at the 40-yard line. 57 seconds left.
That's what you want to see Cam Newton do in a 2-minute drill. Take control of the situation. Call the formation. Give the protection, signal the route, and get going.
Because he had so much success in his no-huddle at Auburn. Standing still, brought down, back at midfield, Barwin. Timeout Panthers.
Almost like he never got off the primary receiver. He never saw Barwin hit him. Standing tall in the pocket, Barwin on a delayed blitz off the right side runs right over. Wow. Silatolu at left guard. Good night. 9 sacks for Connor Barwin. Carolina offense struggling in all phases.
Saw Fletcher Cox with that hand up in the face of Cam Newton. And Lisa, 31-7 here. Newton and the Panthers trying to find points before the half.
Yeah, Mike, and it just doesn't look like Cam Newton is feeling all that well physically. Every time, the last 2 timeouts, he's come over to the side and is throwing with one of the training staff just to keep warm. It just seems like that rib cage area of his is very tight. Remember, he told us yesterday that sometimes when he goes to fire those ab muscles, it isn't always there.
Right, that fractured rib, Lisa, that he had in the preseason kept him out of the first game. 4 sacks haven't felt good thus far tonight either. And neither will the 5th. Barwin for the 3rd time tonight.
Get behind it down at this is against Philadelphia in this place, and they're coming after you. Barwin, who's been spying Newton all night, when he sees him standing there like a statue in the pocket, he's got the green light to go get him. And that's the third time Connor Barwin has crushed Cam Newton. They might want to consider pulling him out of this game and taking a look at him, Mike. He just doesn't look healthy to me. He walked in last night at the production meeting. He just doesn't have the gleam in his eye that you're used to seeing. He's had a bad thumb on his throwing hand. He's had bad ribs, a bad ankle, and I don't know how much more punishment you want your young franchise quarterback to take, but clearly this is not the Cam Newton that we have seen in previous years.
He's been sacked 5 times in this first half. Derek Anderson is the backup, smiling there on the sideline. 5 times sacked in the first half for Newton. First time he's been sacked that often in a first half in his career. 3rd and 23. Curry caused the movement by the offensive line, so it'll be on the Eagles, I believe.
Neutral zone infraction defense. Number 75 was in the neutral zone, causing the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know, Cam Newton, you can see there's no interaction with anyone. He's just trying to stay alive and finish his first half. He's having a hard time getting off the ground after he calls a play.
Every huddle, John. Every huddle.
time.
3rd and 18. See, the Eagles have 3 to bring and 8 to drop. And they still flush Newton, who's just going to hoist it downfield. Can Benjamin make a play? He underthrew that. Couldn't get it to the end zone, and Nate Allen has the interception.
Jonathan Stewart may be shaken up, but a horrible first half for this Carolina Panther offensive football team. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions. The fumble by D'Angelo Williams, and on the Hail Mary, there's just not enough on this. Cam didn't finish the throw, and that's an easy interception for Nate Allen.
You know, Cam Newton's got a tremendous arm. And when you see that, that says something to you.
Well, he fell off the throw, and be interested to see what Ron Rivera does at halftime with his training staff after they look at Newton.
4 turnovers and 5 sacks. Poor first half by the Panthers. The Eagles were opportunistic and thrived on offense. 31 plays, 200 yards, 24-point lead. And the Birds get the ball to start the second half. Here is Chris Berman with the Toyota halftime.
Sunday night football.
It makes rock concerts look like tea parties.
99 yards and a half.
Ignition, we have liftoff.
Are you ready for some football? He's got it. Right there. He got it. Or you can take me now. I've seen it all.
Pretty good first half as Mark Sanchez leads the Eagles thanks to the Panthers' mistakes. Most points the Panthers have allowed first half since 2009. Yes, last time the Eagles had that kind of first half scoring was that Monday nighter where Michael Vick went nuts when we were in Washington. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters coming up here in a moment. Time for these Zales extraordinary moments, and not many of those for the Panthers in the first half.
No, it started right away. They can't run the ball, they can't pass protect, and they can't take care of the ball. D'Angelo Williams, opening drive of the game, fumble, set up a field goal, and then Newton is late on a slant pattern. Results in a Darren Sproles touchdown. Just like that, they're down by 10. And why they punted the ball to Darren Sproles in the middle of the field, I don't know. But Sproles made him pay. And then Cam Newton, terrible location on a simple hitch route. Fletcher scores, and that's why we're sitting here 31-7. Eagles need to knock out Carolina quickly and get on with the regular season.
Their time of possession is never really significant for Chip Kelly, but his team only had the ball for 9 minutes, 19 seconds in that first half. Those 4 turnovers we talked about by Carolina, plus the 5 sacks, really made it short fields and easy opportunities. Special teams score and defensive score, all part of that 31-point explosion. Philadelphia has scored over 20 in every game this year. And the ball thrown into the end zone, and there are 2 losses at San Francisco and then at Arizona. Chris Polk will take a knee, and here's Lisa Salters.
Yeah, Mike, well, I asked Ron Rivera about the health of his quarterback because it appeared at times that Cam Newton was really physically struggling in that first half, and Rivera said, I don't think he was struggling. We were just missing out on opportunities, and we didn't give him a chance. And I said, Coach, at times it looked like he was actually in pain, and he said, well, I'll have to check with the trainers, but I'm not seeing that. Mike?
Interesting. All right, Lisa, thank you. Sanchez and the Eagles will take over at their own 20-yard line. Talking to some of the folks here on press row who watch the Panthers on a regular basis. They, too, wondering why Newton just is not, whether it's injury or other reason, just not as sharp as he normally is. Sproles is sharp. How about that quick little cut to his left to accelerate and gain 14?
Well, they're playing Sproles and McCoy in the same backfield. It's miserable. They fake the ball to McCoy. They throw it to Sproles. Watch Charles Johnson missing in the open air. And man, is he quick.
Sanchez has the crosser. Matthews tripped up before he could accelerate at the 48-yard line. Catch 6 and a 100-yard game for Jordan Matthews.
And Philadelphia will not let up, Mike. They're going to stay on the gas pedal. You'd think with a 24-point lead, you would huddle and try to use some clock, but not in this system. Mark Sanchez, Chip Kelly, acting like they've worked together a lot, Mike.
McCoy left, and Kuechly and Davis get there before he can get going and get a first down. So, John, a lot of people have talked about it. We'll have time to discuss it in the second half with Nick Foles getting hurt in the collarbone injury. Is Sanchez a better fit for this offense?
You know, I don't know if it matters who plays quarterback for Chip Kelly. He used a lot of different kinds of quarterbacks at Oregon. Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Mark Sanchez have all been productive in this system. They just got to stay healthy.
Sanchez avoids the sack and completes it to Brent Selleck. He's 2 yards shy of the first down at the Panther 45.
Well, that's a veteran quarterback right there. Sanchez under pressure, steps up, keeps his eyes downfield, and throws a strike to Selleck. That's impressive.
Charles Johnson got an arm on him, couldn't knock him down. Had to wait for Macklin to come back from deep downfield for 3rd and 2. Intended for Matthews and incomplete as Josh Norman had the coverage, and it's 4th down.
Got to credit this Carolina defense. They played well tonight. The scoreboard doesn't say it, but a lot of these points that have been scored by Philadelphia didn't come against this Panther defense. Luke Kuechly with a critical stop.
And your point's good, John. 10 points off of the short fields and the turnovers when they took over in their own territory. Person with the catch on the fair catch. 24-point deficit as Newton comes back. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Navy Federal, serving the armed forces and their families. And Toyota, let's go places. Philadelphia has a Vietnam Veterans Memorial that was dedicated in 1987. Veterans of the local Rising Sun VFW, post 2819, visiting the memorial on Sunday. As has been said so eloquently by so many, with Veterans Day tomorrow, all who have, are, and will serve in our thoughts, in our prayers, and we give thanks to them on this Veterans Day 2014 coming up tomorrow. D'Angelo Williams starts with a carry of about 7. Let's go back to the struggles for Newton in the first half, John.
Well, Philadelphia has been a big part of that. They have hit him repeatedly. Barwin chases him down. And it's Trent Cole and a host of Eagles. Poor blitz pickup. Michael Kendricks gets after him. Then it's Brandon Graham punishing Newton. Barwin again. Nowhere to go. And Cam Newton needs some help.
Officially a gain of 8. Williams runs to the right. Trent Cole comes around from his right defensive end spot, circles and catches up to him.
That shouldn't happen on the backside of that play. Byron Bell on the backside has to do a better job cutting off Trent Cole. Can't just let a man come screaming off the backside. You got to hinge out there and get that done. Trent Cole's played too many years in this green, Mike. He knows how to play the game, and he's proven to everybody it doesn't matter how old he is.
Turned 32 a month ago. 3rd and 1. They stuffed the middle, but moving to his left for the first down is Jonathan Stewart. Of course, they usually have Mike Tolbert in this role, but as Panthers fans know, he fractured a leg week 3, placed on that injured reserve with a chance to return, and he can return for the last 4 games of the season.
Cam Newton has just jumped into the no huddle, Mike.
Check to that run by Stewart. That's a gain of 2. For folks who see that happen every week, John, just walk through what's happening when a quarterback does that, does the dummy count, and sees what the defense is doing.
Well, you use a dummy snap count. You see where the rotation of the secondary is. Clearly in that formation, Cam Newton is trying to run the ball away from the down safety or where the rotation is, and he's done it twice. They have some code words that you're probably able to hear at home. That's why you got to change them on a weekly basis.
It's happened throughout the league. Everybody's got to come to some new code words and signals week to week. Underneath, it's the catch a yard shot of the first down for Cotchery. Nate Allen brings him down. Missed the Houston game with a hamstring injury.
That's where you want to see Cam Newton push the tempo. He did this at Auburn, went undefeated, won the national championship. You're down 24. Let him get in the no huddle. Push the tempo. Try to get back in this game. 3rd down and 2. I expect to see the no huddle if they can get this converted.
You just want to see some juice somewhere from someone on Carolina. Whether it's Newton or Williams or Stewart, somebody get this team going. Tackled by Barwin. Looks like it'll get Stewart across that mark. Check the spot shy of the 40, see if it's a first down. And it is.
It is indeed, and Philadelphia continues to rotate fresh bodies. You know, this Eagle coaching staff on defense is comprised of a lot of men that were college defensive coordinators, so they've seen this Cam Newton act before.
Bill Davis coordinates it. The guy's worked under plenty of NFL defensive minds in his time. Newton will take a shot down the field for Cotchery, who never came close to separating from Fletcher.
Bradley Fletcher has come to Philadelphia from St. Louis, stayed healthy, and played very good bump and run coverage. He finds the ball early in the down and does an excellent job holding his tight coverage. Has had a lot of injury problems earlier in his career, but has stayed healthy as a Philadelphia Eagle. And opposing quarterbacks are completing under 50% the last 2 times out against this secondary. You must give them credit.
And for the season, low completion percentage against this Philadelphia defense. Newton getting the screen to Williams. And he picked up a couple of blocks that will make it 3rd and manageable.
Where is Greg Olsen? Their pass receiving tight end. Led the team in receptions a year ago. Got off to a great start. Has been awfully quiet in the last couple weeks. Had a big reception in the first half, beating Casey Matthews. But they need to find Olsen in these passing situations at the top of the screen.
All those offensive line issues, Olsen was really in a more of a blocking role for the Panthers these last couple of weeks. Play clock down to 3. Newton gets the snap off. The Eagles bring 5, and Cam lost the football. The Eagles had it, lost it, and who's got it on the bottom?
Carolina. Mike, Carolina's just not ready for the blitz at all. You got to know where your quick receivers are, and get to your quick receivers immediately, but if you hold the ball against this kind of blitz, you're in trouble. And Connor Barwin just flattened Nate Chandler for his 4th sack of the night.
Vinny Curry, the recovery. Another turnover for Carolina, their 5th. Been a lot of long walks back to that Panthers sideline for Cam Newton and company after the turnovers fest. 5 of them here in the first 2.5 quarters. And the Eagles take over for the 3rd time in Panther territory. And Sanchez up top. Touchdown. Brent Selleck.
How about that throw? 4 verticals, well known as all go. And Brent Selleck, who has been the blocking tight end for the Eagles for the last several weeks, has become the go-to receiver. And you can't throw the ball much better than Sanchez threw that one. The coverage was tight by Roman Harper, but if you get a step and you get a perfect throw, you got a chance to score. What a beautiful throw by Mark Sanchez.
Might be short of the goal line. And they'll take a look at this via replay. There's the knee down, there's the ball. Just shy of the plane and denies Selleck his first receiving touchdown of this season.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did catch the football. However, when his right knee hit the ground, putting him down, the ball was just inside the 1-yard line. It will be 1st and goal, Philadelphia, and the clock will start on the ready for play.
Gene Steratore, one of the best in the league. Pretty clear and simple explanation. Eagles saw that as the replay was shown on the big board, so they had their offense right out there ready to go. I'm about 2 feet away. So erase the Selleck touchdown and give one to McCoy instead.
First time I've seen Shady McCoy score in 6 weeks, the longest drought of his Eagle career, but that was no contest. Right off the right side, the motion over the top fooled the backside, and that's a walk-in touchdown. Philadelphia is taking it to the Carolina Panthers. All 3 phases.
Touchdown number 2 for McCoy. Both of them on Monday nights. One against Indy and one against Carolina. Must feel great for Mark Sanchez. Waited nearly 2 years to get another start in the NFL. So Mark Sanchez played for Rex Ryan with the Jets. John asked him on the bus this week, what's it like to play for an offensive-minded head coach?
He knows every single thing that's happening. He's a step ahead of everybody. He takes ideas from great offensive minds like Pat Shurmur. He takes ideas from Musgrave, from all these other people. They all make it one thing for us, and it is just an incredible experience, man. It's so, you should see walkthroughs and practice. I mean, it's so cool. So cool. I had to get myself in physical shape to run the system, but mentally get myself in shape to hear all this stuff coming in the headset, to be ready for walkthroughs and stuff. It's fun.
It's a culture. It's a culture in the building on the offense, how you order, sort, and run your practices. And for Mark Sanchez, this has been very exciting in the experience, obviously up 38-7 in his first start since December of 2012. It's a good fit right now.
Sure is, Mike.
No return there.
You know, the big thing you have to do with a quarterback is you got to stimulate him. You got to get him excited about coming to his walkthroughs and working with his teammates. You see it in his eyes.
Totally.
We saw him in New York. He was beat down. The world was on his shoulders. He's a new player. He is reinventing himself here. He loves this coaching staff. He loves his supporting cast, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This up-tempo scheme suits him tremendously. He's got a chance, if he can take care of the football and start stringing some consistent performances together, to be the future quarterback of a very good team. And there's a lot of pressure on him. It's not like he inherited a 3-6 team. This is a team in first place. He had everything to lose as well as everything to gain tonight. Wow.
My goodness. This is not competitive. Fletcher Cox joins the party.
Well, this is on the verge of ridiculous. I mean, Fletcher Cox, I don't know who's supposed to block him. But Amini Silatolu on a screen pass has got to get a little more of Fletcher Cox before he releases onto the perimeter. Newton had no chance. You get sacked and lose 12 yards on a screen pass, you have real issues.
That is the 7th sack of the night for the Eagles. 7, the most times Cam Newton has been sacked. It's the second time it's happened. 7. Williams, Cole. No gain.
Trent Cole. Trent Cole played defensive end his entire career. Chip Kelly comes to town. They says, Trent, we're going to move you to outside linebacker. I want you to stand on 2 feet and learn how to do that. And he said, okay. And he's not doing a good job. He's doing a really good job. And on 3rd down and long, the Eagles smell their 8th sack coming.
And it is a screen. Here goes Stewart to the 16-yard line. Well short of it. And they'll kick it again.
Just too many weapons on this Eagle football team. Look who comes out to field this punt. You forget that all 3 phases are clicking, and that includes special teams. And one of the unsung heroes on this Eagle coaching staff is Dave Phipp, the special teams coach. They have dominated the return game all year. Wouldn't you with Sproles?
5 special teams touchdowns. That is a very returnable kick. Sproles to the 42. That Panthers are on it just to return 3 yards. 5.5 left here in the 3rd. Been that kind of night. The kind of night Cam Newton would like to forget. 5 turnovers, 7 sacks. Yuck. Best start in a decade for the Eagles at 6-2. They're looking to add to that here, well on their way. Stay ahead of the Cowboys in the NFC East, and on Thanksgiving afternoon and then a couple of Sundays later, Eagles, Cowboys, 2 meetings in a 3-week stretch. Up 31, still rolling, still throwing. Sanchez to Zach Ertz. Kuechly the tackle at the Panthers' 37-yard line.
They're making a lot of money faking the ball to McCoy. McCoy ran for 1,600 yards last year. He became an off-season research project, Mike. Defenses have tried to stop McCoy. They've done a nice job of that, but they can't stop the play action from McCoy.
Here is pressure. Sanchez trying to get rid of it. Escapes, throws it away. He drifts back to see if he's still in the tackle box. The ball did get close to the line of scrimmage. The question was in or out of the tackle box to determine if this is grounding or not. And it is grounded. And it's a huge loss.
Anytime you're between the hashes, there's a good chance you're in the pocket.
Long conversation here. Lane Johnson was right in the middle of those 2 hash marks.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 3 was in the pocket under pressure. Throws to no receiver in the area. Spot foul, loss of down, 2nd down.
Philadelphia blew a protection there, obviously.
Let's see as we put the lines in those black lines in the tackle box. He got right to the edge of it. That's a huge penalty. Almost a 20-yard penalty on that one. So McCoy tried to make some of it up. Nearly lost the football as it was being pulled at by Colin Cole.
You heard the Panthers yelling, watch the screen. Colin Cole heard it loud and clear. Nice job. Reading out of the rush and finding LaShawn McCoy. And these are usually the times I let you call the play, Mike. 3rd down. And
it is 3rd down and 32. It's corrected. It took a minute there for everyone to count that down after the intentional grounding, which carries the loss of down with it. It'll be a run for Chris Polk, 3rd-year man out of Washington, who's given them the 3rd back, John, and that has allowed what we've seen on about 3 or 4 snaps tonight, a chance for Chip Kelly to play both Sproles and McCoy together because there's a 3rd guy.
Polk was a workhorse at Washington. Did not get drafted, had some shoulder problems, but he gave Philadelphia a jolt last week in short yardage and in the tight red zone situations. They're a three-headed monster. McCoy, Polk, and Sproles. Not many teams have what Philadelphia has in the backfield.
Donnie Jones kicks it, and Burson from Wofford College. Same school as the founder of the Panthers, Jerry Richardson. Easy as this deal is, John, if the Falcons win next week and the Saints lose to Cincinnati, the Falcons will be up in first. They were 2-6 playing the game yesterday. They've won all their division games. That's the story in the South. Here's what's growing over here in the East. Eagles, if they hold on, will get to 7-2. You mentioned those two meetings with the Cowboys, sandwiched by a game against Seattle. Giants lost out in Seattle yesterday. Washington idled. Is now a two-team race in all likelihood in the NFC East. Start to look at the top records of the teams in the NFC. You have Philadelphia, Detroit, Arizona. Teams sitting with the best marks in the NFC, and two of those three teams are on their backup quarterback now. The Eagles and the Cardinals. From the 17, Newton. Not even close to being open downfield is Cotchery. It's the second time they've tried that on Bradley Fletcher, and there has been no separation.
Just nowhere for Cam to go. They don't get many of their backs out to check down. These are one-man routes. That was a square out takeoff, a double move, and Fletcher saw that the whole way. They've got to get all 5 eligible receivers involved. It sounds easy, but they can't afford to let them out. They have to stay in and help this offensive line in protection. It's a terrible problem right now in Carolina.
A quiet night for the rookie first rounder Kelvin Benjamin, Fletcher Cox, and Cedric Thornton in the backfield on the stop of Stewart.
I just don't understand some of these runs I'm seeing in pro football. They're lateral runs out of the shotgun, and the offensive lineman doesn't block anybody. But Fletcher Cox didn't get touched. I'm going to want to run the ball behind that. 3rd and 12, expect Philadelphia to rush 3, and watch Connor Barwin, number 98. He's going to keep his eyes on Cam Newton the whole way and spy him.
Third and 12, and there is Benjamin, targeted for the 5th time tonight. He's only caught 1. And the lone big play perimeter threat for the Panthers, like most of the Panthers offense, non-factor tonight.
It's a shallow cross. Are you going to stay on the move, or are you going to stop running? You got to communicate with your body language. Benjamin, just a rookie, as talented as he is, needs to refine his route running big time.
Here comes the Brad Nortman punt. He turns it over. Still Sproles returning from the 27. Reading blocks. Known guy Maragos got in the way. And he's tackled number 43 at the 43. Well, on the offensive line, it's been no picnic here. Peters has started every game. That's the only stability. Mathis started into the first game. 3 other options until Mathis comes back tonight. Kelsey gets hurt the 3rd week. Polk fills in. Kelsey's back now. The right guard spot, Harriman started through the injuries, and Harriman's now out for the year. Matt Tobin started. Harriman's also filled in at right tackle, where they went through 3 players during the 4-game suspension of Lane Johnson. Been like solitaire, but the Cards are looking good right now, and the Eagles have been dealing against the Panthers here tonight. McCoy gains 2, tackled by Kuechly.
You know, you showed all those injuries at the 4 positions, but you have to make a bigger deal of the left tackle. He hasn't missed a game. And when you have Jason Peters playing left tackle, things could be a lot worse. This is a highlight reel playing left tackle. Former tight end at Arkansas, Andy Reid made a great trade with Buffalo, getting this man to be the left tackle. He didn't play Andy Reid's last year here, and that had a lot to do with some of the problems. But Jason Peters is a great player, Mike.
Their offensive line struggles throughout the year. Injured Panther Star Latulele, their 1st-round pick from last year, the defensive tackle out of Utah. He and K'Wan Short drafted together 1st and 2nd round last year. Try to be those guys in the middle. We saw him turn that ankle in a nasty way as he stepped on Luke Kuechly's foot in making the tackle. And John, one of the reasons that the Panthers went with Latulele and Short, the two 300-pound tackles in the draft last year, was to keep bodies off of Kuechly so he could make all those tackles like he did last year when he was the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year.
Not only that, you see K1 Short 99. They wanted these two big defensive tackles to push the pocket so the quarterback couldn't step up. And that allowed Charles Johnson and Greg Hardy to create one of the most fierce pass rushes in the league. Greg Hardy not here. Let's hope Latulele is all right, but that did not look good.
Nope. And John, you mentioned Hardy. That's a player who a lot of folks have talked about with the Panthers. I think everyone's familiar with the story of his arrest on domestic violence charges in May. A trial by a judge in July convicted him of those charges you see there. But you can immediately ask for an appeal for a jury trial, not a judge trial. He did that. So as they waited for that, while everything was going on with Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson, he was placed on the NFL Commissioner's exempt list. That means you still get paid in that process. While that was going on, they hoped that the trial would be rescheduled and heard in November, that jury trial. However, the calendar got busy, the docket is full, so the trial's been pushed back into early 2015. What that means is, as they continue to look at Latulele, the Panthers are wondering, will they get their defensive player back in Hardy, and will he be welcomed back too, is another question. So there's a lot to go through as Latulele gets a nice hand from this Philadelphia crowd as he's helped, and unfortunately gets carted off after that nasty-looking ankle injury. Jason Peters going over among those to give their well wishes. This Hardy story has become such an issue. Remember, he played the first game, then in the second game, at the very last hour, he was deemed inactive for that Detroit game as the pressure was building on the entire Carolina organization of what to do, and then the commissioner's list, the exempt list, came up as an option. They miss him on the field. The off-the-field stuff is the most important thing, that they make a decision. Do they want Hardy to play? He's being paid that $13 million franchise tag, but on field, it's been a huge impact of what they've missed on that defensive front.
Huge. Huge. He was a great pass rusher, not only as a defensive end, but as a defensive tackle. He had production at left end, right end, left defensive tackle, right defensive tackle. They have a whole new secondary. Now Latulele is hurt. Been a tough year for Ron Rivera trying to defend the NFC Championship.
A pass knocked down by Harper and incomplete. Rivera telling us last night that in the next week or so, as those other high-profile cases involved continue to be figured out, precedent will be set. The hard part right now for his team is there's no closure, and all the uncertainty at the beginning of the year that's continued here for the Panthers, and it'll be the guidance of the league and what the next step is in terms of the Greg Hardy story as he awaits trial by jury in January or February. Sanchez dropped it, picked it up, completed it to Riley Cooper, who tried to climb back for the first down, but he ends up short of the first down, and Luke Kuechly was slow to get up for Carolina. Fortunately, walking off the Panthers' leader as the linebacker.
A lot of frustration on this Carolina football team. And as you said earlier, they're going to fly home tonight very much in the race. And if they can get Cam Newton healthy, who knows?
Donnie Jones dropped that punt, the Aussie style, end over end, tough to catch. Is caught by Burson, who was bumped into at the 12-yard line. For the weekend of college football, all those big games will be a shake-up in the selection committee's top 25. The rankings come out tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. Reese Davis and company will have that for you here on ESPN. Number 3, Auburn losing. 3 of those teams in the top 10 knocked off. More big games here along the way. So a minute 36 left here in the third. If you weren't with us earlier, we've documented Cam Newton's struggles, sluggishness, the season-long injuries he's dealt with. Lisa asked Ron Rivera at halftime, and he said there were no new injuries to Newton, but certainly that star and the sizzle and the first down points of the Superman. Seen a lot less of that this year from the Panthers' star player. That pass to Olsen, reeled in at the 42-yard line.
Same play they hit Olsen on earlier in the game. Seam pattern, and Cam Newton did a nice job looking off the free safety. Greg Olsen continues to be one of the elite receiving tight ends in pro football.
30-yard gain, Olsen over 100. Nate Allen went for the big hit and hit his own teammate Malcolm Jenkins. They both stay in the lineup. Fozzie Whitaker is now the back, and the former Texas Longhorn takes it to the 45.
You know, as this season unfolds, Michael Kendricks, number 95, is going to have to play great football for this Eagle defense. Picking up the slack for D'Amico Ryans, not only as a performer, but as a leader, as a communicator in the middle of Philadelphia's defense. He's capable of doing it. A lot of talent.
Whitaker almost lost it, got it back, gains a couple of yards. He's not fully taken over that Ryans role, is he?
No, not in all situations. There's three defenses that Philadelphia has. Their base defense, I think they'll lean on Casey Matthews. In their nickel defense, maybe Emmanuel Acho. But in this dime package, Kendricks is going to be asked to do a lot. But it's time for him. Even though he's a young player, he's been in Philadelphia long enough. They haven't had a Pro Bowl linebacker since Jeremiah Trotter in 2005. And this place is famous for turning out linebackers.
Got some good stuff for me in the fourth quarter?
I don't know. I hope so.
All right, come on.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to finish strong.
ESPN, celebrating 45 years of Monday Night Football.
Salute to service and all the veterans, the POWs, those missing in action, all who have served on the minds of many around the country. Veterans Day tomorrow. NFL honoring the veterans here throughout the league this week. Fourth quarter in Philadelphia. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. The Eagles. This is a 10-7 game after Cam Newton led the only good drive the Panthers have had, an 80-yard drive in the second. And since then, starting with the Sproles punt return, 28 unanswered from the home team. Newton is 18 of 30 tonight with 3 interceptions and has been sacked and fumbled it more than a half dozen times. Olsen picks it up to avoid a turnover. He's pushed out of bounds back at the 29. Vinnie Curry took care of the ball handling as Newton had it out there to knock away.
This is no contest tonight. Vinnie Curry, right side of your screen, number 75, beats Chandler to the inside. Clean. It's just poor blocking by the Carolina offensive line. You can't say it any other way.
Chandler, who was a defensive player, moved from the defensive side of UCLA to the offensive line, been there a couple of years. Sproles makes the fair catch back at his own 33-yard line. So obviously we have Mark Sanchez here playing quarterback tonight. He was with the Jets, as we know, for those seasons, and then they drafted Geno Smith to replace him, and then Geno's been replaced now by Michael Vick, who was here down 95 in Philadelphia, replaced by Nick Foles, who was replaced by Mark Sanchez. The circle of quarterback life up and down I-95. Mark's here, Vick's there.
I feel like I'm on the beach listening to that music. That was a nice little cartoon.
You've got your own Slacker radio channel, don't you?
Yes, yes I do.
See the things that have happened to you? McCoy. Kuechly almost had him. Panthers pursue with Thomas Davis in the tackle. You said this in the open, John. I want to go back because you're around players for so many years. Just the impression that Luke Kuechly makes on everyone when he walks into a room and you get a chance to watch him and talk to him.
Knowledge of the game, passion for the game, and just being a genuine, intelligent, good guy. The kind of kid you want your own son to grow up and be like. He's a leader. He's relentless. Proud to know him. Here he comes.
Jeremy Maclin. There's Kuechly chasing him down sideline to sideline.
I mean, you're down 38-7. You're the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of guys would check out and say, hey, we're not winning tonight. But watch how far he comes from. You're a young football player. Go get his jersey. That's who you want to be like.
He's looking forward to the matchup tonight, trying to match wits with this offense and just stick to what he needed to do. McCoy able to climb through, get the first down as Dockery makes the tackle. McCoy has that rushing touchdown, but under 20 yards rushing here tonight for Shady.
You got to keep an eye on number 16, Brad Smith. He plays occasionally as a receiver, as a slot back. You forget he was the Swiss Army knife of the New York Jets. He was an outstanding quarterback in college. He can do a lot of different things. So many unique parts of this Eagle offense.
Sanchez got away from Kuechly, completed. That's a beautiful play by Sanchez. Selleck on the run inside the 20. And Mark Sanchez looking really good here. Selleck is a bit injured as he gets up and limps.
Watch the movement in the pocket. Luke Kuechly unblocked. Sanchez doesn't flinch. How about this for a debut, Mike? Over 300 yards receiving. We'll check on Selleck. But Selleck has reemerged as a receiving threat. You forget he had over 600 yards receiving his first 7 years. What a group of skill players they have.
Thomas Deku fell on that left ankle. Selleck limping over the sideline. That's over the head of Riley Cooper and incomplete. So Selleck and Matthews both over 100 yards receiving here for Philadelphia tonight. Part of the good Sanchez numbers.
But you know, every year there's a pool of quarterbacks that are available in the draft or in free agency. And Sanchez was the player in the pool this year that Chip Kelly wanted. Didn't care what people thought. Brought him in here, and boy, has it paid off.
Thomas Davis ready to hit McCoy, doesn't catch it. This was that end of the play 2 plays ago when Selleck was pursued and Deku got him, twisted that left ankle as he went down.
Sometimes you don't know about those ankles until the next day, but that is an important player. Does a lot of things.
An important game. Philadelphia turns around and goes to play Green Bay next Sunday at Lambeau. Beautiful touch. It's Matthews. For the second time tonight, the rookie Jordan Matthews out of Vanderbilt with a touchdown.
Got to credit Sanchez again. This is an all-out blitz. He saw it the whole way, and Charles Johnson is supposed to read out of the blitz and cover Matthews. I don't think that's the matchup Carolina wanted. But you see Sanchez fade away from the blitz. He bought time, and Johnson had no chance. Mark Sanchez with 332 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. What a debut. And you have to credit Chip Kelly and his coaching staff. It doesn't matter who plays quarterback for Philadelphia, but they found a new one.
7 Philadelphia. These are the quarterbacks of the future. Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. Cam Newton, #1 overall pick. Colin Kaepernick to the NFC Championship game the last few years. RG3, a rookie year getting to the playoff. And the one thing they have in common, John, that mobility, that scrambling, that extra dimension coming out of the new styles of offense. And we spent a lot of time talking about, is this the wave of this position in the NFL? But what we're seeing are a lot of injuries for these players. Not Russell necessarily, but these guys have not had these tremendous years as they've gone deeper into their NFL experience this year.
Well, I worry about their longevity. Russell Wilson has 3 100-yard games already rushing. Kaepernick, I haven't seen him take it to another level as a drop-back passer, but clearly RG3's on his way back from injuries, and Cam Newton doesn't look the same to me either, Mike.
Fozzie Whitaker stays on his feet. Parkey has to be part of the tackling at the 37-yard line, John.
I worry about these quarterbacks that run all the time. Just a matter of time. You're playing with fire. These men are not wearing the shoulder pads that running backs wear, and I worry about the amount of collisions that these quarterbacks are taking. Can they play into their 30s? I mean, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Drew Brees are still going strong. Can you last playing the position with this type of reckless running? I don't see it happening. I worry about it. I think they've got to continue to develop their passing skills, learn how to survive in the pocket, use the mobility when they need it. But when you rely on these zone reads and these running quarterbacks, you're seeing what can happen, and it's not always good.
Well, what does that mean for the read option, which is so much a part of football? And really, we saw Cam Newton have some great success here. He gives to Whitaker, who has a first down and a gain of 18 yards.
I think the read option is a college offense. I've seen the wishbone, the freeze option.
Yep.
I've studied all kind of different options. The read option works, and it can work in pro football, it can work in high school football, but it puts your quarterback at risk. Right. And if you're going to give him $100 million and him $100 million and him $100 million every time he gets hit, right, if I'm the owner, I'm going to say quit letting him get hit. You understand?
That's true.
I'm telling you, Mike, you're putting your franchise quarterback in harm's way. Every time they carry the football, they get hit enough in the pocket. And I worry about these young up-and-coming stars.
Because they have great ability.
No doubt.
And you want to watch them develop in the pocket as Graham makes the tackle on the 3-yard run by Williams. And here's why you want them to develop in the pocket. Here are the best records in the NFL, okay? Let's look at who's playing quarterback for these teams. And I know Palmer hurt his ACL, non-contact injury. Brady and Manning deep in their 30s. Stafford having a great year in Detroit. Nick Foles was here. He gets hurt. Now Sanchez, Tony Romo. But none of those guys, maybe they've run Foles a few read options. That's about it. That's not the way those offenses are with the best records in the league. It would be an interesting study as people go forward to make their decisions about offense and investment with quarterbacks. Newton incomplete as he was trying to get to Joe Webb, who actually started 2 games as a quarterback in this league, including a Tuesday nighter against the Eagles.
I'll make my final point, Mike. When you remember what we saw Cam Newton do at Auburn against Oregon, we'd never seen anybody do that. But now when he gets off his knee in the huddle, watch him. He'll have a hard time standing up. And this is not what I want to see happen to Cam Newton. I worry about him and his longevity. Too important to this franchise. Been hit an awful lot as an early young quarterback.
This is 3rd and 7, and Newton again finds Olsen having a very good night. After Olsen was less a part of the receiving party with all those offensive line injuries that have gotten Newton beat up a bit.
Look at this throw in the pocket. I mean, he's under serious duress. Throws a pinpoint accurate spiral to Olsen. Capabilities there. They've got to improve their offensive line without a doubt.
27, Fozzie Whitaker. Shot of 20. Casey Matthews brings him down.
You know, some of the hits that he's taken tonight, they've just been manhandled up front.
Yeah.
I've seen the right tackle get run over. I've seen the left guard get run over. I've seen the left tackle whiff. And when you're standing back there with the football against a professional defensive lineman with incentives in his contract that's unblocked, you're going to get hit.
Well, that's always when we watch games on Sundays and we talk about preparing for a game, we talk about these multi-million-dollar defensive ends who are left unblocked in these read option looks. Caught and taken by Benjamin for the touchdown. Kelvin Benjamin. His 6th touchdown of his rookie season, a 21-yard score for the first rounder out of Florida State.
Big Kerry Williams on a slant route. He's a big man, very difficult to bring down. And he has put together some impressive numbers as a young receiver. He's only going to get better. He and Cam Newton, the future of this Carolina franchise, they got to spend a lot of time together to get the most out of that connection.
And they have become good friends, very close, follow each other around. Extra point added by Graham Gano, young man who caught the national championship winning touchdown for the Knowles last year. Catches one here. 45-14. Chip Kelly has really gone to a unique approach with the offense we've talked about, but it's also the entire culture of the Eagles. They have different days off than other teams in the National Football League. It is all about the tempo and being ready for the tempo, and that involves recovery. So, for example, when we usually go to see teams practice, and what's normally their Friday, but it's Saturdays for a Monday night game, you see a team run their red zone, special teams. There's a good pace. For the Eagles, that is a walkthrough because they go hard in the middle of the week, and then those last 2 days before the game, this week Saturday, Sunday, most cases Friday, Saturday, they're in recovery mode, trying to be ready for the tempo of the next game. It's a touchback. So how do they do it? It's sports science. And how do they do it? They take care of all the players' bodies. So they go through all their medical stuff, and each player has his own blender in the Eagles complex, and they get a specially designed shake each day to make sure they're ready. What do you have there for the shake?
It's Chucky's protein powder. The Chip Kelly gave me this. Got my own shake.
Would you like a pineapple?
I use it all. Chucky's protein powder.
You can't use it all.
Give me that pineapple.
Take a pineapple in there too?
It's part of my shake.
But have you ever walked through an NFL facility or in a Monday night booth and seen a shake maker for each player?
Right after the broadcast, he says, drink this. I might have put too much Chucky's protein powder. But you know what they do the next day after you drink this? You see how you feel. You wake up and they ask you how you feel.
Right.
They send you a text message of what you should do. So, for instance, they said you need 10 and a half hours of sleep. You got to have a home-cooked meal, vegetables, and, you know, good lean steak. And what else did he say? You get an hour steam bath as well. You need an hour steam bath. Problem is, my wife would divorce me. She says, you're going to get 10 and a half hours of sleep, a home-cooked meal, and a steam?
But the rest is important for the players. What they do and how their bodies are prepared. You can't put this, it's not plugged in. What they do, it's essential. Now, a lot of guys won't buy into this unless there are the results. And when we talked to Malcolm Jenkins, he said, middle of the year, this is the best I felt. Strength, energy, not sore. So maybe there's something to it. This pass is incomplete, intended for Josh Huff, the rookie receiver. Kaysen on the coverage.
You got to admit, though, if this can help our broadcast, God knows I need help.
Let's do protein shakes.
You got blackberries, blueberries, bananas, Chucky's protein powder, and here's another punt.
But how about the guys buying in? That's the difference to all this.
Absolutely.
Because players talk to players in this league. And if Jenkins, a veteran, comes here and is bought into all the sports science analysis, as Burson was tackled at the 35, then other players hear about it and they'll come here and believe it. We'll look for a plug so we can make this undrinkable shake in a moment. Nice shake. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league's donating $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, Wounded Warrior Project. Join the Salute. Learn more, NFL.com/salute. So one benefit of some of these high-scoring games last night and tonight, more money donated to those tremendous causes as we approach Veterans Day tomorrow. Halfway through the fourth, Eagles lead by 31. And the Panthers forced to take a timeout. Speaking of Veterans Day, Ron Rivera, we've seen him in some advertisements about his family background in the service. His home base was Fort Ord as he grew up as part of an Army family. And Ron Rivera's dad, Eugenio, was drafted into the Army in 1952. He eventually took 2 tours of Vietnam. Told us a great story last night that his dad retired after 32 years in the Army on a Friday. And he and his mom went down to go watch Ron play. Ron's playing, of course, he played for those 85 Bears, the Super Bowl winners, linebacker. And then Ron gets a call from his mom on Monday, said, your dad's going back to work. He took a new job. Oh, great. What's he doing? He's going back to work in the Army. He loved it, couldn't get away from it, worked 16 more years, 48 years, Eugenio Rivera, of wonderful service to the U.S. Army. Cam Newton, deep ball shot, Olsen, incomplete, off the head of Jenkins. And Ron speaks with great pride of his dad's service, and also was quick to point out that Mom was the football analyst of the family. Dad was a big baseball coach and into baseball, and Ron says, call, and Mom would say, hey, or Dad would say, hey, here's your mom. She wants to talk to you about blitzes from the game last night.
Sounds like my mom. Ron Rivera, he's had a tough year. All the best to his dad and all the military people out there. We wouldn't be doing this without you.
I mentioned Joe Webb before. 14's in the game as a receiver as Whitaker runs to the right. The 38-yard line, twisted down by Bo Allen, a rookie out of Wisconsin. 7th-round pick out of Madison.
I am surprised that Cam Newton is in this football game, Mike, with 7 minutes and some change left. He has been hit a lot. That's been well documented, but clearly they want to see more. 3rd down and 7. All night tonight, Connor Barwin has been Newton's spy, and that will continue. Look at the eyes of Barwin, watching every move Cam Newton makes.
Want to get more sacks here. Newton with the fire. Joe Webb comes down with it in the traffic. Webb, 2 quarterback starts in this league. I think he started the game after Brett Favre's last start. Flag down. Let's see if this one holds up.
Comes out of a bunch formation, breaks to the outside, goes up and gets it. I believe he's got both feet in.
Let's watch that second heel gets down. Yep, it does. That is right. Favre started a Monday night game we had that they had to play outdoors in Minneapolis after the dome.
Unnecessary roughness. Blow to the head of a defenseless receiver. Defense number 29. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. 1st down.
I didn't like that call either, but
I could tell. I heard the throw to there. It was against Nate Allen. So Webb started that next game, and again, I mentioned that was the Eagles. They played on Tuesday. They had a huge snowstorm. It was scheduled for a Sunday night game. Got moved to Tuesday night. And Joe Webb got the start in that game and started one other game at Detroit, a relatively meaningless game at the end of the season. So a couple of quarterback starts. And then remember, Christian Ponder and the Vikings made the playoffs, and Ponder was injured, couldn't start at Green Bay, so Webb started a playoff game. And now here he is as a receiver.
Offense number 66, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Seen a couple of injuries earlier. Latulele injured his leg, ankle out for the game. Lisa's got an injury update from the Philadelphia side.
Yeah, Mike, well, Brent Selleck is back from the locker room. He was getting that left ankle x-rayed. We're told that the x-rays were negative. He is, as I said, back on the sideline, has been cleared to play, but we are told that he will not come back into the game, obviously because of the sport.
Yep, no reason. Up 31. Lisa, thank you. Philadelphia, Green Bay, as mentioned, next Sunday at Lambeau. Newton for Joe Webb. It's broken up by Bradley Fletcher. You have a lot of guys who you can pick for the Gruden Grinder here tonight. Fletcher's had great blanket coverage on these deep balls.
he certainly has. That's the 4th time tonight they have tested Fletcher. 3 of the 4 he's been in bump and run coverage, and that's how you play bump and run coverage. Bradley Fletcher doing a nice job for these Eagles, and it's been a collective effort. Here they are in their dime package. Nolan Carroll, number 23, checks in as a linebacker. He's never done this before. A lot of Eagles doing things for the first time. There's another ex-Oregon Duck, Brandon Bear. Chip Kelly's brought a handful of Oregon Ducks here to Philadelphia, and Bear has been an important member of this rotation. When you go to Chip Kelly's thinking, Mike, it's about finding players that have a similar mindset. And if you can create a culture with players that have a similar mindset, you got a chance to get your program in place fast. And that's what he's done here. These players all love football. They believe in the details, and it shows.
3rd and 19. Newton, another deep ball shot. And this one is caught. 2nd touchdown in as many drives to Kelvin Benjamin. And it tightens up to 45-20.
Benjamin is a big, fast, talented young man. He can polish his game up, but he ran a little double move on Kerry Williams, and this Eagle secondary has been burned a lot with vertical passes. There's another one. That's one area I know head coach Chip Kelly, defensive coordinator Bill Davis want cleaned up. in any situation.
Coming in, they'd given up to start the week the second most 40-plus yard pass completions in the league. The value of fantasy football for some folks. Some folks won or lost games based on those last 2 touchdowns. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Assassin's Creed Unity. Available November 11th. Make history with friends. Rated M for mature. And NFLShop.com. Find the largest selection of NFL products at the official store of the NFL. Look at City Hall, downtown, a couple of miles down Broad Street here at the Link. Our coverage from Spider Camp tonight is brought to you by DirecTV. .45-21 now. As Newton has stayed in the game, thrown 2 touchdowns, closing in on 300 yards passing. And everybody up just in case there was an onside kick. Oh, it's a touchback. Well, talked about the sports science and the shakes that each player gets made specifically tailored to them. People have been watching, John, and on Twitter. Hey, Groot, I want some of the Spider 2 wide banana shake, man. Sadly, this actually looks like late night TV, and we're hawking some product.
Spider 2 wide banana shake. That's a great idea. Matt Barkley checked into the game, Mike. Another former USC Trojan. I like this kid.
4th game he's playing in the league, inactive all the games this year. Remember, Philly traded up to get Barkley, who hands off here on first down. Polk takes for 3 yards. 4-year starter at Mater Dei High School in Southern California. 4-year starter at USC was Barkley after the Sanchez days out there. Remember, he had to replace Nick Foles in some division games last year, and Michael Vick, Dallas and the Giants, where there were some injuries. And then mopped up after that 7-touchdown performance by Foles in Oakland. And his 13 drives in the NFL and has not been able to produce any points for the offense. Polk to the right. 26-yard line. Were you surprised at the ability for Sanchez to step into this offense, and the ball handling was for the most part smooth, and the tempo and pace that the Eagles, when they want to, they were able to access?
Not really, because Sanchez gets a lot of reps on the practice field with this offense, the way that they go about their business here.
He's had backup quarterbacks don't get reps in the NFL.
Not in this system. They have about 30% of the offense for the backup quarterback. They run 18 plays in a period. Most teams run 12.
So how do they do it and other people don't?
They don't huddle. They go up quick just like they're in a game. So they get more reps in a shorter amount of time. They're able to get backup lineman reps, backup quarterbacks reps, and it's paid off for them.
Oh, that is off the head of the crossing defender and deflects incomplete. Well, Sanchez's first start for the Eagles here tonight. They score the 45 points. And Steve Hurt and our crew digging this up here statistically. Last team to score 45 in a quarterback's first start with the team was when Jim Harbaugh did it with the Colts against the Oilers back 20 years ago. Current coach of the 49ers back from his Colts playing days. Brenton Burson shy of the 30. Acho with the stop as we hit the 3:47 mark here in the 4th on a 45-yard net punt.
Taking a look at some of the hits that Cam Newton has taken tonight. Left tackle Byron Bell doesn't block anyone. Easy sack for Trent Cole. Left guard Amini Silatolu gets run over. Another sack for Barwin. Right tackle Nate Chandler gets run over by Barwin again. When your linemen are getting run over, getting beat inside, pummeled, it's not a good sign. They have a long way to go with this pass offense. The timing from the shotgun underneath the center needs work. The routes by individual receivers needs polishing, and the pass protection needs a total tune-up.
Down 24, 3:47 left. Newton remains in the game. And Burson with the catch. Right about first marker. And Brenton Burson slow to get up. And the athletic training staff will come out to look at the first-year receiver out of Wofford. 1,600 student college in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where the Panthers have held their training camp the last 20 years. Mentioned Jerry Richardson, the founder and owner of the Panthers, the only other Wofford player. 54-year drought in the league from when Richardson played to Burson. Whitaker out of bounds, 3:24 to go. The stats will look good. Newton's over 300 yards now.
Some people are really interested in stats, Mike. I'd be interested in getting ready for the Atlanta Falcons personally. I mean, it's a big game. Carolina has a chance to win the NFC South. All this yardage doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm guessing from your tone you're not a big stat guy.
Not really. One stat is very important. This isn't one of them.
2nd and 9, and another sack of Newton. This one by the former Michigan Wolverine, Brandon Graham. But that's not. Graham slow to get up.
Oh, Byron Bell at left tackle, playing for a contract. And if you're a Carolina Panther executive, you have a tremendous need at that position. Bell probably best served to be the right tackle. He played solid for him over there last year, but it's a whole new ball game when you got to change your stance and play on the blind side against some of these high-priced pass rushers that make their living over there.
Sanchez kind of goofing with Graham. You hope that he's okay. 3rd and 19, Whitaker. And Fozzie takes it to the 37-yard line. And there's no reason to punt it until the 2-minute warning.
Cam grimacing as he heads off the field, huh? I'd be worried about him.
9 sacks. Short week coming up here. Panthers still have their bye. It comes after that game against Atlanta in Charlotte on Sunday. Chad Henne was sacked 10 times by Washington for Jacksonville. The only other quarterback sacked more this year.
Back in Philadelphia, where it's been all Eagles all night. Hi, folks. Steve Levy in again for Stuart Scott. Trent Dilfer, Ray Lewis, and Steve Young are standing by. They'll join me for the GMC postgame report. We'll break down this bad boy of a football game. The fellas will be ranting about what's wrong with these blowouts in prime time throughout the NFL. And we'll have the top 10 plays in Week 10 around the National Football League. We'll see you on SportsCenter. Scott Van Pelt will join me back in the studio. For now, upstairs to the fellas. Mike and John, take it away.
All right, Leeds, thank you. Talk to you shortly. Everybody get you set the last words on Week 10. Yeah, last night, tough one to watch with the Green Bay-Chicago game. I was watching during the 4th quarter. I said, poor Alan Chris. And here we are in their shoes tonight. It's been some ugly games. Mark Sanchez. All right, John, he's in Philly. He's the Philly quarterback. He's got to have a favorite cheesesteak, right? You asked him about it on the bus this week.
If we win this game on Monday, I'm going.
Which one?
I don't know yet. Dorn boss.
Don't give me
John,
the politically correct stuff. I got Geno's, I got Pat's.
After the game, whichever one's open, I'm going. And if they're both open, I'll go to both. I don't care. I need to go get one as soon as possible.
I'm only letting you get one cheesesteak. Where are we going to Philadelphia?
Flip a coin, man. I don't know. I haven't been to either one yet.
Well, he's 20 minutes away from his 28th birthday, so he can ring in a new year in his life. Pat's or Geno's? What is your choice? Famous cheesesteak places.
I like Pat's.
You do?
I went to Geno's one time after we lost to the Cowboys. It was not a good move. Didn't have a good experience there, but it's a great place, Geno's. But I love Pat's.
Some of the locals, Pop Tony Luke's is a great one as well.
There's competitors out there.
So Pat's and Geno's, they're right across the way, and you can go get one at each place and then split them if you go with somebody to do the full taste test. Did that with my son when we were here for a soccer tournament this summer.
I'm a little full after that
protein shake.
Protein shake.
So Philadelphia goes to Green Bay next week, and they'll do that to top the NFC East. Carolina at 3-6-1 has Atlanta, but then, of note, they have the lowest opponent's winning percentage in their remaining games of their schedule. They play Atlanta, at Minnesota, at New Orleans, Tampa, Cleveland, only one of the lot over 500, and then they close at Atlanta. So the schedule opportunity is there. They play like below average teams for the most part. Welcome back to the role of a starter and a winner, Mark Sanchez. There are a lot of people around the league happy for Mark Sanchez after being in that spotlight in New York with the Jets as things fell apart there. And here in Philadelphia gets the win. Former Jet Jericho Cotchery there with a word for his old teammate. 45-21, our final tally tonight here in South Philadelphia. As advertised, Steve Levy is standing by with our Super Bowl champs with a GMC postgame on SportsCenter. Mike Black, Marty Aronoff help us out here in the booth. Jay Roth and Chip Dean lead the crew in the truck. Super Bowl winning coach John Gruden and Lisa Salters. Mike Tirico. Good night from Philadelphia. SportsCenter coming up.